Welcome back to the Crypto's Key Conversation. We're going to quickly jump into CoinGecko here. We're currently sitting at a $1.69 trillion market cap, sitting up 3.6%. Looking at the top 10, we're still in a similar ranges, sitting at 34,808 for Bitcoin. Ethereum sitting at 2,403. Tether's Tether. Binance Coin sitting at 366. Cardano sitting at $1.06. Solana sitting at $94. XRP sitting at 59 cents. Terra sitting at $65. And DOT sitting at $17.93. Coming over to the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index, we're still sitting at 11. As you can see, there's still extreme fear in the market. We've been in this range for weeks now. So as you can see, there's a lot of fear, FUD that's going around with a bunch of articles and a bunch of scandals. Just a lot of uncertainty within the markets, not even just within our market, within the actual, regular stock market as well, with the NASDAQ and S&P and, the quarterly reports coming out from, the major companies. There's just a lot of negativity that's creating this big red sea. So in this segment here, we're going to jump into what Johnny Deaton had posted. Here's his tweet here. Here's a tweet thread. He says, absolute, conclusive, and irrefutable proof. Bill Hinman intentionally misled the public as director of corporation finance while at the SEC. So we're going to check out this video here really quick.
So you said in your speech that neither Bitcoin nor Ether would be considered securities and thus not under the purview of the SEC. Can you very briefly explain what your reasoning is?
Sure, Bob. These are complex facts and circumstances tests, but when we look at Bitcoin or if we look at Ether and the highly decentralized nature of the networks, we don't see a third-party promoter where applying the disclosure regime would make a lot of sense. So we're comfortable in some sort of viewing these as items that don't have to be regulated as securities.
Now, you also talked about initial coin offerings or ICOs, which are ways of raising money using cryptocurrencies. Did you use a similar reasoning? You implied that most seem to be securities, ICOs, but some of them are not. Can you just show us what the difference is simply?
I wish we had a simple way to say this is in and this is out. As I mentioned, they're usually facts and circumstances tests. But a key factor is there a third-party promoter here who knows much more about the instrument than investors might? If that's the case, that's sort of an initial indicator that we might have a securities transaction. If people are buying it for investment and for a return and looking to that party for a return, then again, that's an indicia of a security. If you have, on the other hand, a token that's just used in the network for a good or service, and that's why people are buying it, and that service is available and up and running, not under development, then you may not have a security.
Mr. Hinman, Kelly here. Just to be clear, does that mean if stocks didn't have a third-party promoter, they wouldn't be securities?
Well, as you know, Kelly, stocks represent an interest in an enterprise where there's a management team, and it's really, whenever you're buying a stock or a bond, you're relying on that management team. Those are the third-party efforts we're talking about, where someone is creating value for you, you're passive, and you're expecting their efforts to generate a return.
So just to be clear, for example, a book of the month club that we're joining on an ICO or a golf club membership, we're not expecting any financial gain there. That would not be considered a security, am I right?
Fair enough. If you have that system up and running, if you have someone promoting the next golf course and is selling interests, and the architect and the land and all the key items aren't there yet, and you buy 25 memberships, that may be an investment. You're looking for a return on that. On the other hand, if you go down the road and you buy an investment or you buy a membership in a club that's up and running and you just use it to play a round of golf, that's probably just a good old golf membership.
You and Jay Clayton, the head of the SEC, have been very adamant that you are not going to change the definition of securities laws to fit this new technology. One of the points you made in your speech was the concern about the fraud that was out there in this space. Are you seeing significant fraud?
We do certainly see cases where people are trying to repackage an investment opportunity as a coin or a token and saying that somehow because it's labeled that way, it's not an investment security. And in many cases, we have seen people doing that where the underlying enterprise is not a solid investment opportunity. It's been misrepresented. So we do see fraud, and we do see it being packaged up this way. On the other hand, we think there's an enormous amount of promise in the distributed ledger technology and blockchain technology, and we meet frequently with legitimate parties here really trying to do something innovative, and we're trying to help them navigate the securities laws as they do so.
Hey there, thanks.
Oh, and we meet with them to help them navigate. Well, what about when Ripple was meeting with you, all those weeks and for all those years, trying to do the right thing, trying to get the right clarity so they can proceed forward, going about it the right way. When they're giving you and updating you on what's going on behind their scenes, behind their curtain, nothing's hidden. It's complete mockery, and it is absurd. The stance that the SEC is presenting, within this case, especially lately with them trying to have the whole William Hinman free pass drafts like redacted because they so-called say, okay, yeah, it was his personal opinion, but there are some things in there that we utilize when it comes to our deliberations within the SEC. It's like, okay, well, you really can't have your cake and eat it too, bro. You can't talk out of both sides of your mouth. So without me, going into a big rant about it, Johnny Deaton has a thread here. He says, on December 13, 2017, Hinman had a meeting with Ethereum, Joseph Lubin, and Consensus, and lawyers from Sullivan and Cromwell, Clayton's law firm. The next day, December 14, 2017, Matt Corva of Consensus with lawyers from Sullivan and Cromwell stated that they were building an alliance with the SEC. 6 weeks later, on January 25th, 2018, Clayton meets with Chris Dixon and Andreessen Horowitz of A16Z and instructs him to put together a group within the industry and write up a memo. Perkins Coie, a member of the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance, the EEA, led this group of Ether investors. On March 26, 2018, attorney Lowell Ness of Perkins Coie sent Hinman a memo and safe harbor proposal. The only crypto asset mentioned in the safe harbor is Ethereum. 2 days later, March 28, 2018, Ether investors meet secretly with Hinman asking for a regulatory free pass from the SEC. On April 23rd, 2018, the SEC meets again with Joseph Lubin and Consensus. On May 12, 2018, Lubin stated that he was making great strides with regulators. On May 24, 2018, Lubin claimed he could issue tokens in ways detailed in Hinman's speech, which hasn't been delivered yet. On June 8, 2018, Consensus meets with the SEC again. Joe Lubin commented how the market needed the SEC to scare some projects away. 6 days later, on June 14, 2018, Hinman gave his speech and declared the ongoing sales of Ether were not in violation of U.S. securities laws. Incredibly, he then goes on CNBC with Bob Pisani and says, we at the SEC do not see a third-party promoter when looking at Ether. From the statement to be truthful, he must have been blindfolded during all of his meetings with the co-founder of Ethereum and founder of Consensus. So absolutely. It's literally absurd and sickening that, like, do they think we're dumb? Like, it's there. It's their own words, whether it's document, whether it's on video, it's them. They're the ones, kind of contradicting everything that they're saying. So, and it's evident, it's there. The writing's on the wall, the curtain has been pulled back, the exposure is there. The SEC and all of these players that's been involved in this Ethereum free pass is surfacing. Coming over here, Jeremy Hogan earlier, he says when it comes to the SEC trying to get a delay and extension and trying to get some of the drafts when it comes to William Hinman's Ethereum free pass speech stuff redacted, he was saying the SEC won't win this motion mainly because the evidence it wants to submit is not new. And in my opinion, the purpose is not to hide the emails from Judge Netburn, because obviously Judge Netburn had an in-person camera review when she was reviewing the documents. This leaves three possibilities: delay, make a record for appeal, or delay. So we went over this in our previous video. We just kind of talking about everything, but I wanted to come down here and read his last thing here. He says the motion solidified that the SEC will absolutely pull the plug on this litigation if it believes it might lose a major issue and create case precedent that inhibits its ability to expand its control. So the whole thing is he doesn't believe that, they're going to win this motion to, redact some of that, or even just completely, hinder Ripple from gaining access to those drafts and those logs. he's thinking it's more of a play of like, okay, delay, and if it doesn't happen, and then they go further down, litigation within this case, it may get to a point to where the SEC is almost forced to, kind of clean their wounds and kind of just call it a quits, because the further down they get and the more things that are going to be exposed is only going to hinder their ability to, have strength and dominance within, over regulating this place. They're not going to give up, everything in regards to their power. So the SEC is so-called set out to protect us investors, but like truly, who are they truly protecting? Outside of themselves, who are these players? Who are these people that were involved in these 60 plus emails that went out? Who were in all these private meetings? When it came to getting all the industry players, who are all the industry players? When it came to, the ICO of Ethereum, who were all the purchasers? When Joseph Lubin was talking about hiding these purchases, who are these people that bought these purchases? And who's a part of this whole Ethereum free pass speech scandal? Crazy. Coming over here, I'm going to play this again because I think it's extremely powerful and we got to get this around.
In 2018, then SEC official Bill Hinman gave a speech declaring that Ether is not a security.
We believe current offers and sales of Ether are not securities transactions.
He made us believe it was guidance to the market.
It was the first time we had expressed to the world that we didn't view Ether as a security.
But Gary Gensler's SEC says this speech was not guidance. That's not what the markets thought.
The SEC has started to weigh in. Just last week, Bill Hinman communicated that Ether was considered a commodity, not a security.
Even then, SEC Commissioner Robert Jackson made us think it was guidance to the market.
He gave a speech where he laid out, here's how we think about this, and gave a set of principles that the market can follow.
From time to time, the SEC does its best work, not through the cumbersome and formal rulemaking process, but instead by talking to the market. Help me understand how to do this right. And we're working on it. Hinman gave his speech.
And all the while, Bill Hinman was being paid $15 million from a law firm promoting Ethereum. Then Hinman left the SEC to be a partner at the biggest crypto investment fund. Why did Bill Hinman give that speech? How many millions of reasons did he have? It's time for an investigation of the conflicts of interest by SEC officials like Hinman. Only Congress has oversight.
So this is from John Deaton's Crypto Law US. So in the grand scheme of things, Ripple cannot lose this case to the SEC. If the FCC wins, all that's going to do is give them more power to overregulate, overstep, and really dominate and control, what goes on in this crypto space. And that's what we can't have. And if you have your favorite project or platform, they're coming after you next if they win this. We have to do our best to stand up for what's right and truly believe that we're on the right side of history and the right side of law. I wanted to end on this other video here that we had posted earlier in our earlier video. This is by Crypto Insight UK, that kind of emphasized what I'm saying when it comes to we have to be very careful about, picking our side here, whether it's SEC versus Ripple. We need Ripple to win, and he's kind of going to explain it right here.
Could you tell us how this lawsuit affects us as XRP holders?
Well, the main effect on XRP holders in the United States, of course, is that the major exchanges, Coinbase being the largest, delisted and suspended XRP. 9 days later, I filed my action against the SEC, and in January, I was on a podcast, and someone said, "How long have you been a securities lawyer?" And I said, "Well, about 2 weeks now."
For the outcome of this case, how much do you think this is going to affect the US crypto scene and worldwide, depending on what happens?
Well, think about this. If the SEC is successful in not just getting a verdict against Ripple, but if they're successful the way they're alleging the case and getting XRP declared a security, today's XRP, then every token is at risk other than Bitcoin, right? Arguably, because XRP is one of the first few tokens. It was created in 2012. If XRP is a security 8 years after the fact, then that implicates ADA, Algo, XLM, Ether, all of them. And so a ruling, the SEC would be able to use this ruling to say, hey, XRP had a better case because they were older and you're newer, and so therefore it equally applies to you. And so it really could impact all of cryptocurrency, certainly all the altcoins.
So, I mean, that's just the truth. That's what I'm just saying. I mean, it's massive. This Ripple versus SEC case is truly powerful, and it is the case of all cases when it comes to the growth, success, prosperity within our space. It's truly going to set precedent and a standard when it comes to the SEC and their overregulation and their, regulation by enforcement tactics. With all that being said, stay strong out there. Be safe.